the game back to 1998. So I'm not going to rely on GPSs and all the modern technology. I will certainly have some people that are professional that can help me from that regard, but I still think doing things the old-fashioned way is a good way.
Okay, so my issue, Coach, with this is that when he talks about technology, like what technology really is just more information. The metrics, the advanced data, all that is just a better way to be able to scout and to game plan and to do all of it. So will Jon Gruden's old school mentality work with the way everything and everyone has moved in the NFL now?
Yeah, it'll work. And look, Jon Gruden's not Forrest Gump. He didn't get to where he is by accident. The success he had winning a Super Bowl, and then the success he had as an announcer, turning into a $100 million deal in Oakland. He may be saying that, but he's going to look at all the different things that are available to him, and he'll incorporate it. There will be people in the building that will show him the possibilities, and then he'll either adapt it or not. The problem with technology, and I was really aggressive with technology, and a lot of teams are, is trying to figure out how it fits. And how does technology make your life easier? How does technology make the player's time more efficient? And in the early stages of technology, it doesn't. And it's a time sponge. It's a resource sponge. There's so much that has to go into it.
When you talk about, when you say technology, can you be a little either more specific or give examples?
Okay. So for example, the GPS. When I was at the Jets, we brought over a sports scientist from the Australian Institute of Sports who introduced it to us. Now, at that point, it was all in the metric system, so it didn't really translate to what we were doing. But we were early adapters to it, and even though we liked it and liked the potential for it, it's been years in the works before teams have found a way to add some value to it. It could be virtual reality training or augmented reality training. That's something that's now coming out, and to me, I think it's going to be an excellent tool. But it's getting it to the point where it's an efficient use of the player's time. You only have so much time during the course of the week as designated by the CBA.
Look, I have questions about Gruden. I think he's being overestimated as how great he was. I mean, he hasn't won a playoff game since '02. We know he had trouble in Tampa Bay at times when he was there. But I agree with what he's saying and what you were saying about the analytics and all that. In all the leagues, the major three leagues, you have the guys that are overly reliant on the analytics and in some cases may not know how to just watch the game and what's going on. And then you have the guys that are kind of the old school football or basketball guys who you don't want to deal with. I think the best is when you mix it. And I think that's what Gruden was saying. He said, look, it's a part of the process. We'll have guys in the building who bring us the analytics, and we'll use it when it's applicable. But to sit here and just rely on it, I think that doesn't work in any of the sports. And now your guy, Daryl Morey, I'm going to use basketball, in Houston. He is maybe the poster child for analytics, and obviously he's a very successful GM. But if you look at a lot of the moves that have made the Rockets great, when they went to the Western Conference Finals with Dwight Howard, that wasn't an analytical move. Everybody would have taken Dwight Howard as a free agent. Getting Chris Paul, that didn't really match up with the analytics because D'Antoni doesn't like the mid-range shot. Chris Paul has specialized in the mid-range shot. That was just go get a great player that everybody knows is a great player. So I do think I like what Gruden's saying about I'll use it, but I won't be overly reliant on the analytics.
And there's a space in analytics, and obviously it's helped a lot of sports. But in football, trying to find what that space is right now, nobody's cornered that market. And you're dealing with 11 players that are dependent on each other. So it's different than other sports. It's different than baseball. And there is this divide in the building where oftentimes the analytics guys are somewhat seen as nerds, and the analytics guys see the coaches as glorified gym teachers, and they never get together and really work on what is the most progressive way that we can add value.
All right, so Jon Gruden and Mark Davis, I understand why they might yearn for 1998 because I think they are still both getting the same haircut they got in 1998, so I understand that part of it. However, this is so disappointing for me because of the contract Gruden has. Let me explain why.
Okay.
He has more security than any coach in the league other than Bill Belichick, I would imagine, because he has a guaranteed contract for 10 years and $100 million. If there was ever a coach that could fully embrace, forget I'm not talking about the technology part of it. I'm not even talking about the analytical approach to what players we pick, because there is an eye test. But the analytical approach to where the NFL is decades behind where it should be. What is the proper decision on fourth downs? What is the proper decision on aggressiveness? Where every team in the league gives up expected points every game by being too conservative. According to the math, the most aggressive team in the league is still a couple standard deviations more conservative than they should be. And one of the reasons, and you and I have talked about this on and off the air, that coaches can't be uber conservative, that coaches can't go with the numbers in a matchup and say, you know what, given our offense and their defense, this is a 2-point conversion game. Every single time we're going for 2. Given our offense and their defense, this is a 4th and 3 game. Even if we're on our own 30, the numbers say we should go for it if we're inside 4th and 3. The numbers, the reason coaches can't do that is if you go outside the norm, you're going to be questioned. The media is going to want to kill you. Your owner's going to say, what the hell was that about? This isn't how it's done. And you have to weigh that. Gruden doesn't. Gruden has more security than any coach in the league. He could be the trendsetter to show you, guys, we're all doing this wrong. We're all leaving
What if he
points on the
doesn't
board.
believe in that? I mean, should he just do it to experiment? I mean, to conversely, he has the security to say, I'm going to do it the old school way. And if it doesn't work, he can switch if he wants, but he has the security to coach that way as well.
And he also has high expectations. He's expected to produce results very quickly, and the best way that he can do that is by doing things the way that he knows how to do them the most effectively. And in addition to that, I don't think that he has spent a lot of time studying new trends. He has spent a lot of time meeting with, whether it's college coaches or professional coaches or different areas to see what the trends are in the NFL. So maybe he's not on the forefront of analytics, but he has been pretty aggressive in studying what's being done on the field.
Look, he doesn't have a great roster next year. It's not like he has the luxury to be able to play around with a couple different options however he wants to go. They also knew exactly who they were getting in Jon Gruden. Jon Gruden, I mean, he's been out there. We've talked to him. It's not like he disappeared for a couple of years. So Oakland has to know who they were getting.
I know that they know who they were getting.
But doesn't your approach also just, it seems to me like if somebody was explaining gambling to me, well, I don't want to put, I don't want to hit here, but the numbers say you do, because every time you get this, you do. Right, you have to. But doesn't it take some of the, real feel in the moment, game time being what a coach is out of it? And then can't you just get, a computer to coach the game?
And when you make decisions that, based off analytics, are the right decision and they don't work, it's not like people sit back and go, oh, that was a great decision.
But you shouldn't. Here's the thing. I get why most coaches would care about that, because they can get fired.
Yeah, exactly.
Jon Gruden can't. He can't be fired this year. He can't be fired next year. The Raiders are, from an ownership standpoint, we're talking about NFL owners, one of the poorest teams in the league. They cannot write him a $70 million check to not coach them. He has the security. He could be the guy.
But you're asking him to kind of do something, to experiment with something. That's not him. I understand if you had a guy that leaned that way, he could experiment because of the security. But Gruden, that's not who he is.
And he hasn't said that he won't have it in the building. He just said it's not going to be the forefront of his plan.
And again, I just want to make this clear for the audience. I do think there is an enormous value to the guys that played and coached in evaluating how good of a player is, evaluating what player we should take in the draft, who should get more playing time. I don't think there is a secret analytical sauce to that. But some of the game time decisions are math. It is as simple as the dealer showing a 10, I have a 16, I might not like it, but I have to hit. And those are decisions coaches across 32 teams get wrong every weekend. I hope we at some point have a coach that starts to get those right.
All right, Coach, stick around. Don't go anywhere. Coming up, are the Giants about to break the bank on Odell Beckham Jr.?
Oh.
If Odell has something to say about it, they are.
Odell would go with the
First
math.
things first.
He'd go with the math.
While our most